Tervetuloa kaikki Itäkeskuksen kirjastoon. Mun nimi on Robert, mä oon täällä kirjastossa töissä ja meillä on tänään se syksyn ensimmäinen MMK Living Room Session Itäkeskuksen kirjastossa. Ja meidän vierat tänään ovat Dobrila Grašeska. Grašeska. Ja Dorian Jovanović. Tervetuloa. He tulee meille just tänään Makedoniasta ja he aloittivat taiteellisen uransa osana Čalgija Sound System quintettiä vuonna 2006. Ja Čalgija Sound System on tämmöinen kokoonpano, joka on omistautunut muun muassa perinteisen makedonialaisen čalgija-musiikin säilyttämiselle. Ja sitten vuonna 2020 he aloittivat uuden hankkeen, jonka nimi oli Dobrila ja Dorian Duo. Ja onko joku kuullut Dobrila ja Dorian Duo? Joo, minä olen. Se on erittäin vaikuttava hanke, jossa he tulkitsevat uudelleen, sanotaan perinteisiä makedonialaisia kansanlauluja. Ja ne käyttää siinä improvisaatiota, kokeilua ja semmoisia elektronisia tekstuureja. Ja se on erittäin kiinnostava. Ja tämä Dobrila ja Dorian Duo esiintyy perjantaina Vuotalossa osana Etnosoi-festivaalia ja se on osana myös Sounds of Europe-hanketta. Ja mainitsen vielä kerran myöhemmin tästä. Ja tänään he kertovat meille lisää čalgija-musiikista ja muustakin makedonialaisesta musiikkiperinnöstä. Ja sitten he soittaa vielä meille kanssa. Ja sitten meillä on mahdollisuus kysyä heiltä čalgija-musiikista lisää ja sitten omasta musiikista. Mutta tänään ne esittää meille ihan perinteistä musiikkia Makedoniasta. Joo, aloitetaan. Ne halus aloittaa pienellä kappaleella sitten. You will start with a song. Yes? Joo.
Ne para
So, welcome to Helsinki, Dobrila and Dorian. Have you been here before? First time, okay. And have you learned any Finnish? You arrived several hours ago.
4 hours ago.
4 hours ago.
Yo.
Okay. That was amazing. What was the song that you just played for us?
So this song is a Čalgija song named Ajde vino pijam, ne para go pijam. It means I drink wine, but I don't like it much. I like more vodka or rakia or something like. And after that, the lyrics are about one guy who is in love with a girl, and but he's riding a horse, and he's taking the horse to drink some water, but the horse is taking the guy in front of the house of the girl. So it was very difficult. The house is very difficult. It's closed. Yes, it's locked with shoe. I don't know, with nothing. So he entered then. So he entered in the house, and the rest is history.
So it is the horse that likes the girl.
Yeah. It was written in the stars.
Yeah.
And so on Friday you'll be playing with the duo, the Dobrila and Dorian Duo. And it's a duo, it's just the two of you, yeah? And you play, your instrument is...
Yeah, okay.
We are a duo, but there's this guy in the back who helps us a lot.
Yeah, okay. So there'll be some electronic
some
effects,
some looping, and so in that manner to make a whole kind of arrangement, which can also be used as a basis for some improvisation. It's a rework of the songs.
Right.
We reinterpret them.
Okay.
So
yeah.
we do a lot of improvisation, which is outside the boundaries of traditional improvisation. It's more into maybe jazz or experimental or something like that.
Right. Okay. And you play the oud, and you sing, obviously. I was saying that we are becoming the home library for the oud. We have had something like 7 or 8 oud performances of various kinds in the last year and a half. So if you want to hear the oud played extremely well, welcome to Itäkeskus Library. We're the home. But in order to maybe understand, you talk about in your new project, you're reinterpreting this Čalgija music. I think would be great if you can share sort of some of the background of Čalgija music with us, and you have prepared a presentation. So we can listen to Dorian and Dobrila's presentation about Čalgija music, and then afterwards feel free to ask any questions you have, and we can have an open discussion about it as well. Yes?
So I was chosen for this. Yeah, it's okay. Have you heard of Macedonia? Do you know where it is?
Yes.
Okay. And have you heard then of Macedonian Čalgija tradition? Okay, so it's with a question, what is Čalgija? Yeah, but I don't want to be too loud. I think I'll be better like this, but maybe you won't understand it as well. So the important thing about Čalgija is that is, like it says there, old urban music tradition. So it's when we would say urban, can I walk? It's not. When we say urban, that would mean that there is some other also, which is basically the rural music or the village music. So this music developed in the early towns in Macedonia, probably already in the 18th century, and had its peak during the 19th century and especially the first half of 20th century, until the end of World War I, basically. So it's a very specific style because the towns were a mixture of ethnicities: Macedonians, Albanians, Turks, Serbians, Vlachs, Jews. So it's a mixture of all these cultures that were with businesses, trades and stuff like that. So they all had their celebrations, their weddings, their name days and stuff like that, where somebody was supposed to play. So these bands developed which were building on the traditional music from each of these, basically, from each of these ethnicities, and then putting other stuff on top of it to make it pleasing for us. It was pop music, to be honest. It was really a pop music from the towns. So the repertoire became specific because it was from the towns. The themes were usually more into love and hedonism, more than compared to the village music, where the themes are much more varied, and there are many classifications. I don't want to go there. And the word Čalgija comes from the Turkish word Čalgi, which would mean an instrument, and then it kind of was appropriated into Macedonian and other Slavic languages to be called Čalgija, Čalgaji, and Čalgajiluk, like developments of the name. Čalgajija would mean somebody that plays music or instrument. So the word became a synonym both for the type of music, but also for the type of band and the instruments that they were used. I will come back to that later. So this is what I started. Macedonian traditional music has basically three main pillars where the music comes from. It's the village music, which we call izvorna, and that would mean something like from the source. Then there is urban music, which is Čalgija, and later in the second half of 20th century it developed into something we call starogradska, which was kind of taken from Čalgija and from the instruments, built with other instruments, modern, like guitar, accordion, upright bass and stuff like that. And it became a different style. And then there is the church music, which was the Byzantine church singing, which was also, each of the churches had their versions, so it was kind of... Ne. So this music mainly developed in these towns, which are... Štip was also mentioned, like fifth town, which is in eastern part of Macedonia, although very little can be seen from that music in eastern Macedonia. So in western Macedonia, which all these towns are, this is more prominent tradition. Even today, for example, we with Čalgija Sound System mostly play in western part of Macedonia and mostly in these towns, so which is probably because the tradition was from there. I probably hope that you know Ohrid. That's the famous lake, and a lot of churches, beautiful nature, but you have a lot of things. Also, as I already said something about this, so all this mixture of ethnicities in the towns had their cultural context in which this music was performed. So they were performing music which can be the same song in different languages, with different, slightly different lyrics in each of these languages. So you can find the same song in Serbian, in Macedonian, in Turkish, in Bulgarian also. But the occasions where this music was happening were all these celebrations, name days, weddings, funerals, and from each of the religions. So it was really a vast field where this can be heard. Today, when you go through the repertoire of Čalgija songs, these are basically the main three groups of songs, how you can see. There are songs which are like from the source in a manner, like more to the village music in one sense, but still like original Čalgija songs in Macedonia. Then there is the influence of Ottoman music, because while we were under the Ottoman Empire, we had a lot of Ottoman officials which wanted to hear music from the court. So these bands were also performing Ottoman classical music, like Peshevs and Semais and stuff like that. Even there is a story that one of our famous violin players from Čalgija violin players performed in front of the Sultan, and the Sultan was very pleased with his performance. I don't know if that is true, but it might be. And then there is, because since you know where is Macedonia, for a very long period Macedonia was the border between the West and the East, between the Habsburg Empire and the Ottoman Empire. And it was changing places where it is in different periods. So this Western influence was also was always seen as something more modern and something more developed and something to be achieved and wanted to be achieved. So they were incorporating also Western classical music influences, and this mixture became what is Čalgija today. Recall these parts, so Ala Turka is when we see more of these Eastern traditions in the music, and Ala Franga when there is more Western. So there are songs, for example, especially in Ohrid, which are in 3/4, like waltzes, which is totally not characteristic rhythm for Macedonian music. So it's interesting that because they wanted to be modern and to perform modern music, not the Ottoman, which is backward. Huh? This is what I just said. As you heard in the song, it's a monodic music. There is only one melodic line. All the players play the same line in different registers, maybe, depending on the instrument, with the singers. It usually were more singers, and the band mostly sang, the whole band sang with the singer. So it was a bit more massive than we sound today. And the most characteristic thing, there is no harmony as in Western music. So it's total lack of harmony. As I played it now, I was combining in a sense that I played with her, but I also played something that is accompaniment, like in the early Baroque and maybe late Renaissance. There was part of the ensemble that was playing accompaniment with the melody which was sang, so it's basically the same thing. But it is usually very simple, so it might be just one tone like a drone, or maybe slight movement when the scales are more complicated because there was a movement. So, I'll start with the instruments. Čalgija in original formation was basically canon, oud, violin, percussion, which was like Eastern percussion, def and tarabuka, and later with clarinet. It's my idea that probably in the beginning it was a kaval, which is like the ney, from wood, not from bamboo, and was later, because it's very soft, it was replaced with clarinet. The clarinet is great for weddings on the streets because it's very loud, so it can, the whole town is then singing. So this is what we could see as alla turca and alla franga context within Čalgija as music. So it's about the instruments. Originally this was wood, canon, violin. Since these are instruments used in Eastern, Middle Eastern music all the way to Persia, it is logical that they were brought with the Ottoman Empire. But there are puzzling things, like there are frescoes and reliefs from churches which are before the Ottoman Empire, which have the instruments there on the frescoes. So probably the instruments were present even before the Ottomans, so it was just augmented with their coming. And especially the scales. So there are a lot of Eastern influences. I cannot say that we use makams. We use like tempered versions of makams, and it's just a couple of those that we actually have present today. But that is what is left. We don't know how it was. It was probably richer in that sense, and it was probably dominated at some point in history. But today, this is only maybe 5 or 6 makams which are present, and they are all tempered. We've lost the microtones in that manner. You can hear old recordings where they are using from the beginning of 20th century, where they are playing with microtones, the scales, but later, after World War I, that was basically just wiped out. Also what I just said. So these songs from Ohrid, which I also already mentioned before, which are usually, a lot of them are in 3/4, and they are usually in minor or major scales, like Western music in that sense. So they were also avoiding the makams in this sense to be more modern and more to the time, which is basically, again, end of 19th, beginning of 20th century. These are the instruments. I mean, for violin and clarinet, you all know how that looks. Although the tuning of the violin was different. It was also kind of alla turca, alla franga, because, for example, that last big violin player, he tuned the violin in GD, like, and not like the violin in Western music. So there is also this distinction there. Also, for example, the oud was probably tuned like Turkish ouds, but today, because Turkish music had this couple of changes where they, moved the tonal system, redefined the tonal system. Today, their notation is totally strange to us because they're displaced for a 4th, so it's difficult to read. And then it doesn't fit our music in that manner, especially not to our singers. So I tune my oud in Arabic, like it's one of the Syrian versions that I. So, one of the important things in Čalgija is improvisation. We don't have like in Ottoman classical music, we don't have taksims in that manner. We have mane, which is improvisation within the song with the instruments, and this can take quite a lot of development and building, and because it was for weddings, people were dancing, so they were just moving the wheel and more and just improvising and playing and improvising. So that is one important characteristic of Čalgija that is that we, especially me and Dobrila and Dorian Duo, we kind of took that and put it in some other time today, basically, and improvise in a different manner, but we base that on improvisation. There are recordings of the last bands, which were somewhere in the 70s, the last original Čalgija bands in the 70s, and they were also playing semis and peševs. Sometimes what they say as what type of semi was Nahaland or something like that doesn't actually correspond to what they play if you see it from today, but that's how they learned it. But most of them were totally self-taught players who, they learned music through their experience, and so what they've been told, that's what they knew. So if somebody told them it's this semi, that's that semi. But there are recordings of them, so the presence of that music was also quite prominent because of the Ottoman officials who wanted to be court-like. As I told you, so Ohrideria has a lot of waltzes, although it's not really waltz, it's just a 3/4 meter. They also started using some form of harmony, sometimes doing thirds and sixths to the melody, like small ornamentation with intervals. And also the accompaniment. So that was kind of our family influence. And later the appearance of these tempered instruments with accordion, guitar, and even pianos and stuff like that. So the music had to change, and that became different music. Today we differentiate it from, like, we call it Starogradska, which actually means old urban music, but that is younger than Čalgija. Čalgija is the actual old urban music.
Thank you, that was really interesting. It's really a unique opportunity because to get information about this music from people who play it, to me is really fascinating and important. So thank you for coming, and thank you for presenting to us today. Meillä on vielä yksi mikki jossain, eikö niin? If somebody has questions, feel free. You can raise your hand, and then Janne can give you the first. If I can ask just the first question about you, I was starting to ask when you came, is how did you get interested in Čalgija music?
Well, in Macedonia, Čalgija is like common music. You can hear it from all over. You can hear it on the radio, on TV, everywhere. So this kind of music the musicians can play in some other instruments. They are not like oud, kanun, and etc. They play on some modern temperate instruments, but the music and the words are Čalgija. So it is our folk music, so I love that, and my mother was a great singer, so I took from her and her influence, and yes, it's like that's me, and I love it.
Okay. So you had a musical like family in the sense your mother was a...
Well, she was a great singer, but she didn't sing, like only at home. But now I'm OG.
Okay, yeah. How about Dorian? How did you?
I have two stories about that. For example, my grandfather and grandmother, they were not really music lovers. But my grandfather in his car had only one cassette, and that was Čalgija music, recorded beginning of 80s in Radio Skopje, and this made just a cassette. And that was the only cassette he had in the car. And that was probably the only folk music that he was listening. So whenever I was with him in the car, that was the music. So this sound kind of, from very little, stuck into my head. And later, I heard the oud, although I didn't know the instrument at all at that point, but I loved the sound of oud, not compared to guitar. I was already playing guitar, but that was not the sound that was in my head in that sense. And I started, it's also somewhere mid-80s, maybe end of 80s. So I started searching for that sound, and that's how I came to Rabbi Abu Khalil and Simon Shaheen. That were the two players that I found, and Simon later in the 90s, but Rabbi in the 80s. And then I connected it to things, and that's how I understood actually that Čalgija in my grandfather's car was played with this instrument, right. And I was like, wow, that's great. So I went to Istanbul and bought my first oud.
In Istanbul?
Yeah.
Okay. How popular is the oud nowadays, like in general in Macedonia?
Well, generally today is more popular than it was.
Yeah.
Generally today, Čalgija and these instruments are more popular. They are also now taught in the music school, in the lower music, I don't know, elementary music school.
Right.
Yeah. And middle school, yeah. So that's a step forward.
And how did you learn? Did you, like you mentioned listening to people play, but was it something you could study in a conservatory, or is it something you had?
No, especially not in the time when I started.
Right.
So I started learning by myself, but in 2006 we did a project which was basically about Čalgija, making kind of a school for Čalgija. And we invited Simon Shaheen to be one of the teachers, because he also plays violin and oud, so he was the teacher of oud, so I was with him there. Then I went to his school in the States, and that was very important. That somebody taught me a system about the oud, because I learned everything by ear. I don't have music school at all, so this was very important for me that Simon gave me this understanding.
Yeah. And you said earlier that like in Macedonia, well, Dobrila says like the music was everywhere, but also there was maybe the idea that it had been forgotten or for some period of time.
Basically after World War II, when Yugoslavia and Macedonia became independent countries, this huge Ottoman influence was seen, even the Turks did the same, was seen as a kind of a not native and foreign to us, and so it was basically pushed back. And Čalgija, with its oriental sounding, especially how they sounded originally, was pushed back in this manner. So with somewhere beginning of 80s to mid 80s, basically there was no Čalgija in this period.
Okay.
Because
Only in radio.
yeah, only in radio, but from old recordings,
Right,
from
right.
recordings from 50s and 60s.
Right, right.
And so there was no new players. It was old players which were just getting older and older. There was no new blood, let's say, in this. So when after the project that I said with the school, after that we started Čalgija Sound System, and basically that in a manner we pushed Čalgija back into the folks.
Yeah, that's what were people listening to instead if they weren't in
There is
the
turbo,
80s?
you know.
Okay.
You know, there is turbo.
Yeah.
Because Čalgija in Bulgarian music is actually turbo music,
Right,
turbo folk
right.
music, yeah. So, and sometimes it is confused, but it's totally different
Yeah.
music.
I spoke to some guests from Czechia the other day, and I was talking, we have these guests. And when I mentioned like Čalgija, they immediately said something, like turbo, sort of, yeah.
That's Čalgija.
Right. And so I can imagine how it could get confused. Yeah.
Just one letter.
Right, right. Onko kysyttävä? Maruf?
Yes, thank you so much, guys. It was very, it was amazing to hear from this. It was very new for me. I don't have any question. I just wanted to just say that thinking of Macedonia and the area that you live, because you were just saying about the influence of the Ottomans and Persian, but of course the Balkan and your Greece, the Mediterranean, and all the Slavic languages around you. This should be just an amazing center of culture, which has been for thousands of years. And you could hear in the small performance of you, there is so much nuances. Even though you said that, you nowadays maybe there is no microtonality anymore, but still you can hear, there is so much, it's telling, you can hear those stories, and it tells about a very great and old tradition. Is that beautiful?
Thank you.
You mentioned the stories Maruf mentioned. So to me, in this mixture, we have like music that is taking elements from the East, but the language is a Southern Slavic language, and so it brings a whole different element. And we didn't talk so much maybe about the content of the songs, the words themselves. And you told us the story of the first song, which about the horse, and that was, to me, fascinating. And maybe you could tell us, are there certain themes or things that people are singing about in these songs? Like what kind of lyrics do they tend to have?
Well, the main theme is love. And in Čalgija Sound System, I think we play only love songs. Except tragic love songs. Yes. But we have another, in this Ohrid lake, in that region, I love one song, and it is, the name of that song is Fanče ojde Kališća. Fanče is a name of one girl, and the Kališća is the name of a village. But the main thing in this song is that this girl Fanče is very angry. And the whole song is about that angry girl. And it's beautiful, it's very similar to me. And she liked very much. She likes Čalgija, and when she was in front of this Čalgija, who played violin, she didn't like his kind of playing violin. So he told me, "I play, or I will took your violin and I will crush it and I will." Throw into the lake, so the fish are going to eat it, and etc. etc. It's very funny song, but it's very important to me. I can sing one, например, една строфа, така? Как би била строфа на английски? Verse. Fance oide vocalisća na panagir, vocalisća na panagir, noće beše ne se snajde, se počudi kira fanče, kajda odiš odačini.
While we're on this song, beside the nature of Fancha, who is very, she says angry, but I would see her more as stubborn and dedicated. The important thing is that she mentions the violin player by name in the song, which is also his song that she plays in this case, and also the rhythm in that song is very strange. I mean, when we notate it today, basically there are meter changes in every bar.
This is like a whole topic too that we could get into.
I didn't mention anything about the rhythms.
Yeah, especially for people in maybe Western Europe who grow up learning. We talk 3/4, 4/4, 3/4, 2/4. Like the rhythm in Balkans and.
Yeah, we go way more about the numbers.
But that's because of the language.
Yeah, it's also my opinion that the language dictates this rhythm.
No.
But in Čalgija, it's not so not so rich as in the village music. In the village music, you have really complicated, like 18/8 and 21/8.
Yeah.
To get to the end of the bar, you've forgotten when you started.
Right.
Beats. In Čalgija, it's usually until 12, something like that. So you have 5/8, 7/8, 9/8, 11/8, 12/8.
Yeah.
That's the number. Yeah, we can play also some, but so now she's jumping in, and it's not about that they are odd, but it's that they are uneven. So we have this division which is 2/3. So we count them compared to Western music where 7/8 would be counted as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We count it in groups of 3 and 2. So it's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2 with the accents, which are also important. And all these bigger numbers. So you have 12/8, which is basically even, it's not odd, but then it's divided unevenly. So it's 3, 2, 2, 3, 2, or some combination of the same. So it's a play where you have this, and that especially works with the words. It's really tight with the words, with the lyrics.
Right. I've tried these like tests where people play music and if like from various Balkan countries or other places and then they ask what's the meter, what's the rhythm, and I can never. Somebody else here probably studies it, could do that. But interesting, so the songs are these traditional songs. How much in the new newer Čalgija music, do people write their own lyrics, or are they always singing traditional songs, or do people make new?
We made a whole album,
Right.
which was our songs in the tradition, with slight, contemporary production and stuff like that. But they were Čalgija songs, our Čalgija songs. It's a whole album. So
Who wrote the lyrics? What were they about? Also love?
About love.
Okay. So you stayed with the same framework.
Yes,
Right. The same framework, but if it's urban music, were the lyrics connected to the urban environment, or could they be about rural old life in the, or even in the traditional Čalgija, or like horses and different things? Makes me think.
yeah, it is. There are songs with gardens and
Okay.
sitting under the tree with flowers,
Right,
roses, and stuff
right,
like
right.
that, which are totally strange for the village music.
Right.
It will never be like that.
Okay.
But things which are characteristically urban,
Yeah.
and going through the streets and
Right, okay.
and so
Yeah.
so.
But the lyrics in this album of ours is little more modern. They are not just like old kind of writing the lyrics. They are more modern, contemporary. Yes.
Okay.
So we must be in our time.
Right, yeah. And to be at the time, then you can also now introduce electronic elements, and that's what you'll be playing on Friday. How did that come about, that project? How did you decide, okay, to introduce these elements into your music?
I think we try to rewrite Čalgija music, traditional Čalgija music with some contemporary instrument, electronics and improvisation, because we are a people, a man of our time, and we listen a lot of jazz music, a lot of world music, a lot of everything, and we thought that we could incorporate something in our music, especially when improvisation is main thing. So I hope you'll be in our concert so you can hear.
Onko kysyttävää?
On Finnish.
Questions?
On Finnish, please, Finnish.
Questions? We have also time for a last song that you are going to play. And would you like to play?
Yes.
Yes?
Yeah. Okay. Czalgija Sound System. This is a love song. Tragic.
Is it one of yours?
I'm sorry?
Is it one of yours?
No, it's Čalgija. mači, naša ta ljubov. 3 godine stana, kako me zafana, luto da me mači, naša ta ljubov. 3 godine stana, kako me zafana, luto da me mači, naša ta ljubov.
What was the song?
This is a song of one tragical. This is a tragical love song, in which a guy is tragically in love with a girl for 3 years, and he is talking about his feelings in these 3 years of dark side of the moon.
All right.
And he's saying, if I can't be with you in here, I can be with you. I will be with you in heaven. So it's like something. Kako je ta se zakolno? He swear to God that he will be her husband in heaven. Yes. So it's tragical.
So this was 12/8.
Okay.
Yeah, and it was hijaz kar, basically, the makam, although it's a tiny bit transposed
Yeah.
for her.
I need to study harder to learn. It always goes over my head. Like, what's that?
You can come to our classes.
How do you learn? It must come just from learning music growing up, yeah? It's not something you sit and study. Because even the term, maybe, I mean, you know 12/8, like, is it?
Oh, well, you just grow up
Yeah.
with that. It's all around. I mean, 7/8 is like, you know,
Right.
like good morning.
Yeah, the natural way for music to sound, right? That's how I understand it.
In 5th grade,
Yeah.
when I was 5th grade, the music teacher told us, one thing is enough for you to get A. And what was that? To tap 7/8.
Right.
However you want, with hands, with legs, with whatever you want, just tap 7/8. That's
Yeah.
enough. So it's written somewhere.
I remember when we had the Turkish musician Melisa Yildirim here, she explained to us like that this was an important part of her musical studies, that she had to sit across from her master and like tap on the table like these, you know.
Yeah, but their music gets even more complicated.
Right,
They
right.
have
Like
compound rhythms of
right.
20,
Right.
and so
Very
But we
good.
learn music sitting next to our.
weddings and celebrations and everything.
Right, in the context of life and
Yeah,
culture.
yeah.
Very good.
You go over the bridge in Skopje and there is someone playing tarabuka 7/8, 9/8, and something.
Right.
So it's all around. It's really all around.
Right. Did I ask at the beginning, you are from Skopje then? Yes.
He is and not.
Okay. Where do you live?
I'm from Finland.
Okay.
A small town
Right.
in the southwest.
Southwest.
Of Macedonia.
I meant to ask at the beginning and I forgot. But
Well, if we are being pedantic, I'm not even from Skopje, but I'm born in Belgrade, so it was,
okay, yeah.
But my whole life I was in Skopje, so
Right.
so that's where I grew, that's where I went to school.
Well, that was really inspiring and interesting. I hope everybody learned something new today and heard some great music. And toivon, että kaikki menisi perjantaina kuuntelemaan Vuotaloon. Ja siellä ne esiintyy ja soittaa jotain vähän niin kuin eri kuin, tai samanlaista, mutta eri muodossa kuin tänään. Kiitos paljon, että kävitte tänään, and thank you very much for coming. It was a lot of fun to have you here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, you.